Welcome to the KIMIYA Healing Podcast. My name is Safa, and I have returned to podcasting after a break. And I took a break because I was working on recording some really powerful courses that are available on my website, schoolofhealingalchemy.com and KIMIYAhealing.com. And I've built these courses to help you get access to all the work, the wisdom, the healing that I would offer in one-to-one programs, but you get to do this at your own pace. And that's really important if you're looking to deepen your healing work and start doing real transformational healing work for yourself. So I've spent the last couple of years building out what I believe to be really powerful and transformative online healing courses, everything ranging from healing ancestral trauma to healing your inner child to going on the actual journey of healing from childhood sexual abuse to more esoteric work. And I even have courses for practitioners to deepen trauma healing skills. And so I haven't been podcasting for a little while because I've effectively been channeling my energy, using my voice to build out those courses. And I would love it if you guys check them out and let me know what you think. And I've missed it, to be honest. I've really missed podcasting, and I want to share with you my thought process and my journey back to podcasting, because I feel like it's useful to see a realistic journey and to understand that we're all humans here on a journey. And just because you might hear me on a podcast sounding like I always know what I'm talking about, or you listen to other podcasters and you're like, wow, like they sound so confident and they sound so sure of themselves and they sound so inspirational, right? And you're like, but how do I be like that? Or maybe you're feeling bad because you don't feel that way, right? I thought I want to show up and share with you what it has actually been like to leave podcasting for a while, and what has been going on in my head during that time that has now led me back here. And the truth is, it has really been a journey of having to get over my ego, because there was a point where I had convinced myself that I should be putting all 100% of my focus into my online courses and into helping people that take my online courses. And I was going to share all of my wisdom there, and I was going to purely focus on that. And I did, and it was super fun and it really rewarding, and the courses have been really transformational for people, and it's definitely been a powerful journey. And I'm really proud of what I've created. Now, I realized that there's something missing. Like, there's something that I used to enjoy doing that now I can't quite find it again. What is it? And I started to realize it's actually making these podcasts. Now, while I realized there was something missing, I also, check this out, I also convinced myself that I didn't have anything to share on a podcast. And when I continued with that train of thought, I actually got to the point of convincing myself, and there was a voice in my head that would say to me, you don't have anything to say worth listening to, so don't podcast. So that's the shadow, right? That's a inner critic, a shadow aspect that I'm sharing with you guys, because I want you to realize that just because you have a perception of somebody, or that you listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video of someone, it doesn't mean that they don't have their own process going on, right? So I want to share with you my process and what it actually looked like and felt like and sounded like. So I have this voice going on in my head for many, many months, right? Which is telling me, you don't have anything worth sharing. Now, bear in mind, I've just recorded 15 online courses, which take about 2 months to complete, full of really deep healing wisdom and guidance and specifics, right, about how to do transformational healing work for yourself. And still the voice was there saying, nah, forget about podcasting. It's nothing there. You got nothing to say. And as a result, I didn't show up. And the longer I didn't show up for, the longer I felt like something's missing. And I'm going in this circle. And bear in mind, it's happening over the course of many months. First, quite subtly, and then it starts to become a bit louder. And as it got louder, it became more and more uncomfortable to hold this feeling, because now I'm starting to feel really disturbed, actually. Like, why do I suddenly feel like scared of podcasting when this is something that not only I have really enjoyed in the past, but it's also something that so many of you guys have expressed has really, really helped you. And I managed to convince myself I have nothing to share and nobody wants to listen to anything I have to say. And as a result, what happened? As a result, I stopped podcasting, right? And in the meantime, I was getting on with my life as normal, and I'll share more details about my life and what the journey's been like in future podcasts, because now I have recommitted to podcasting. But the point of me sharing this is that it's not easy to consistently overcome your inner critic, right? There's going to be times where it gets the better of you. There's going to be times where your inner critic has almost seized control, like it's got the power right now, and you're not doing what you know you could be doing, or you're not doing what you've promised yourself you would do, or you're not doing things with a level of pleasure and enjoyment that you know you're capable of. And maybe you just can't figure out why, right? That was the case for me. Maybe you're making excuses as well. And maybe you've justified it in your own head. Now, these are all very subtle processes at first, right? You don't even realize it's happening until you start to feel uncomfortable. When you start to feel uncomfortable, you have a second layer that comes in, right? The protective layer comes in, and the protective parts of you will always try to protect you from the uncomfortable feeling. And they will come in and they will try to justify why you have avoided doing what you want to do, right? They're going to come in and they're going to give you a whole nother layer of excuses. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I've got other things to do, blah, 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 right? And you keep building these layers, right? We all do it. We keep building layers where it gets harder and harder to do what we really want to do. It gets harder to show up in the ways we really want to show up. And it gets harder to experience the joy from things that we really previously felt joyful around. So for me, one of those things was podcasting, and going through that process, and in the meantime, in the background, I also had this like other part of me which was like, oh, don't worry, you've got loads of time. You can start podcasting whenever you want. All you have to do is plug your mic in and record an episode. So you don't have to do it today. How about you do it next week? And this procrastinator part of me came in, right? And the procrastinator part seemed so easygoing and like, oh yeah, wait, maybe you should do it when the weather's better. Maybe you should do it when you're tucked up in bed and feeling a bit more cozy. Don't do it tonight. You know, you've got other things to do. So the procrastinator part of me, call her whatever you want to call her. We can call her Polly the procrastinator. She kept showing up and putting it off. She kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And months go by, right? Maybe you're listening to this and you're relating it already to things in your life that are being put off and being delayed, until it becomes automatic to put it off and to delay it, until it becomes so comfortable to put it off and to delay it, that now is you don't feel the discomfort of not doing what you love because you're too busy feeling the comfort. And comfort is a very dangerous thing in certain ways, right? It's like a blanket, kind of insulates you from like other feelings, but it also insulates you from the spectrum of feeling as deeply into joy and into like the flow state that you can access, right? Because it's this, you're in this kind of comfort zone where you're not really feeling like the full spectrum of emotions and of your potential, right? So the procrastinator, Polly, puts me in a state of comfort where I'm experiencing comfort by not putting myself out there, not putting myself on the line, not having to express myself, not sharing also, right? Not sharing myself. So the procrastinator is wonderfully deceptive because she's like got two heads, right? One head is protecting me and keeping me in the comfort zone, protecting me from what? Maybe rejection, maybe failure, maybe disappointment, loads of feelings, right? And she's protecting me from that part, but she also grows another head. And the other head is the part of me that doesn't show up for myself and for you guys on a podcast when I could be sharing my knowledge and my wisdom with you to help you, and is like, oh no, nobody really needs your help. No, it's fine. Just keep it all to yourself. Everything that you learn, everything that you've been, experiencing, everything that you want to teach, you want to share with the world, don't do that. Like, you don't need to do that. No, nobody's interested. Nobody needs to hear it. So has that other head that grows out of it, right? And you, before you know it, you've got this like two-headed monster, right? Now I realized I had grown this two-headed monster, and I'm thinking, this is mad because I loved podcasting, right? Those of you who've listened to my early podcast will know I started podcasting because I wanted to face my biggest fear, which was my voice. And I've done that in so many ways over the past couple of years, from singing to making music to recording more videos, and just really expressing myself. So maybe you're listening to this and you're like, oh, even my voice has changed a little bit. I think it has. But the point is, these parts of us, they come in and they grow until we get them under control, right? Until we face them, until we're willing to go, oh, wow, look at this. Polly the procrastinator has popped up. Oh, look, whatever you want to call her, Catherine the inner critic has popped up. Like, naming these parts, right, kind of makes them a bit more personable. And with personable comes personality. With personality comes an opportunity to interact. And with interaction comes engagement. With engagement comes an opportunity for change. You cannot change something that you're not engaged with. You cannot change something that you're not aware of, right? So first you become aware, and then you start engaging with these parts. And I think I've got another podcast about shadow work and parts work, and I have a course called Shadow Hunter, which is all about doing like really deep shadow work and parts work to illuminate these parts of ourselves, right? Because we're never done, and they're always going to pop up, especially if we're in a growth mindset, and we always want to be growing, and we always want to be living more authentically, and we want to be bettering ourselves, right? We want to be showing up in the world for ourselves, our families, our children, partners, clients, friends in a better way. Then we really need to be doing the shadow work, right? And it starts with ourselves. How do we show up for ourselves? So I realized by firstly becoming aware of the discomfort. And for me, the discomfort was, something's missing. Not getting as much fulfillment from like my life that I used to. What was I doing that was really bringing me a lot of joy and a lot of satisfaction? Oh, it's podcasting. But I stopped. Why did I stop? And when I started to question it, I started to see all these parts, and I started to connect the inner voice, right? The voice in my head to these parts. So instead of believing the voice in my head, I started to understand where they were coming from and what they were trying to do and why they were trying to do that. And I sat with that for a while and I was like, wow, this is really, really powerful, because this is the shadow work that I do with my clients. And now is my chance to do this for myself, so I can show up at an even deeper level and a more authentic level for myself, for my practice, and for you guys who are listening to this. So facing those parts and going, you know what? Polly doesn't get to tell me that the weather dictates when I do and don't podcast, right? Catherine, the inner critic, doesn't get to tell me that nobody on this planet is interested in what I have to say, right? Because it's simply not true. And when I look at their evidence for those statements, they don't even, when you actually say it out loud, and I want you guys to try this for yourself with your own inner parts, when you say it out loud, you realize it doesn't make any sense. And then suddenly you're faced with this really, like, quite funny part of you, which has been trying to fool you. It's like a jester. And it's so illogical. And then you can be that, like, the observer of these parts, and you can observe with a bit more clarity when it's in your head and you're not processing your thoughts and you're not thinking and reflecting or self-reflecting, but you're believing everything that comes into your head is the truth about you, right? You start to become attached to these shadow parts of yourself. When we become too attached to the shadow parts, it's because we haven't created the distance, right? We believe it. We believe it so deeply. And you're going to be listening to this right now, and you will know yourself what you're showing up for, what you're not showing up for, how you're doing it, how you could be doing it better. And maybe it feels like a far dream, like something, a pipe dream, they say, like something that maybe, you've always dreamt about showing up in a particular way, right? But you haven't really taken any actionable steps to get there because it feels so far away. It's not far away. It's actually here right now. But what you need to do is feel into the space that there is, because there's a lot of space between the person that wants to show up fully, that part of you that wants to show up fully in the world, and the part of you that you're playing right now. Like the gap is an opportunity for you to build a bridge. And we build that bridge with the bricks of awareness, right? The first brick we need to place is awareness. We need to be aware of what we're doing to ourselves, right? Once we're aware, we become aware of the parts, then we can start engaging. Engage by making these parts personable. Bring them to life a little bit. Make it a little bit less elusive. And this will help you to go from, I'm not too sure why I'm not showing up, but I'm not, or I feel stuck, but I don't know why I'm stuck. It's very hard to help yourself or for anybody to help you if that's only as far as you've gone, right? Because then you really need someone to help you to break things down and show you these shadow parts of yourself before the universe comes along and shows you. And it will always be in a painful way. And then you've got the other part of you that's the victim, when the universe shows you how you're not showing up, and it shows you in a painful way to give you a feeling, an emotion, to make you uncomfortable, right? So you start taking action to do something for yourself. When that starts happening, your victim part will come in, and you will start to be buried under the sea of emotions that make you feel powerless, like a victim, right? This makes it very hard to show up for yourself, because now you're battling the inner victim, right? These are conditions of human nature. So don't feel like it's anything personal to you. It's not personal to you. These are just vibrational states that exist, and now and again we drop in, we tune in, we learn, right? We heal, and we elevate ourselves out of that. And then maybe something happens in our journey and we get taken back there again to go deeper into a deeper layer of that vibration, right? So we're always healing. Anyway, this is the process I was going through. And I even spoke to friends about it. And I said, you know what? I really miss podcasting and I've got so many ideas. I really need to share them. And I was in the background actually collecting all these ideas on my Trello board. Those of you that know me know I love Trello, and I like love keeping my ideas organized and like listing everything. And I've got a Trello board for like every aspect of my life. I love Trello, by the way. And no, I'm not sponsored by Trello. But it's just a really nice way to keep all your ideas and your to-do list like really organized. So I've been building this list of podcasts that I want to make literally for months. And I'm actually really excited now because now I get to record them all. Now I get to reflect on these really, really important topics. And now it's no longer about me and my shadow parts. Now it's not about me repeating to myself that nobody cares, nobody wants to listen to me, I've got nothing to share, there's no wisdom here, right? Like none of this stuff is true. And now it doesn't get to be true because now I'm not focused on it. Now all I'm focused on is I have so much to share that I'm really excited to talk. I'm really excited to get this out there and for you guys to get a chance to listen to it, right? And I really, really hope that it does help you, everything that I share on this podcast. And please let me know how you are finding this podcast. And I always welcome suggestions for ideas you have. Some of you guys have sent me ideas, and I am going to be talking about these topics because they're important. So now that I'm back, I'm really glad to be here and to be back. And I feel like podcasting is like I'm talking to you guys, but I'm also talking the thoughts that are in my head, in my own head. So it's really nice to be able to share that, especially when you realize that actually there's people who it resonates with, right? Now, you might be thinking, okay, you're going through this process. You want to show up. Maybe you want to make a podcast. Maybe you want to make music. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, right? You want to show up for yourself in a particular way, but you've got all these parts of you that are making it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be, or making you perceive things as more difficult than it needs to be, right? So this message is for you, basically, to say, look, you are human and this is part of the human journey. There is nothing unique about what you're going through. It is absolutely, and I don't really love this word,